There is a war happening on the soul of our nation, a war on truth, a war on justice, a war on the people. My name is Minister Dominique Alexander. I have stood on the front lines, not in comfort of political chambers, but in the heat of the streets where injustice meets resistance. For the last decade, I've led the Next Generation Action Network into the fight for human and civil rights, from the courtroom steps to the classroom, from the protest line to the policy room. But now, we bring the front line to you.
All right, 3, 2, 1.
Hello, y'all. This is Minister Dominique Alexander. This is another episode of Frontline. Y'all, real quick, for the last couple of days, if you've been here in Dallas, Texas, we've been under a winter storm, right? And for all of my friends that are from the Midwest and the East Coast, don't try to come and play on my top, right? I done told y'all 1,001 times, we do not build the infrastructure like y'all do in Chicago and Baltimore and DC and all of those cold places, right? So when we get an inch or 2 or 3 of ice and snow, we shut everything down. But the reality is that, my grandmother always said that the weatherman is paid robbers. It's the only person that literally gets his job totally wrong and have it in the morning, right? But I'm just here to tell you, the weatherman got it right today, okay? And for most of us, we've been at home for the last couple of days, and I said, okay, all right now, it's too much going on in the world. I gotta make sure I talk about stuff that's going on and the levels of injustice, and man, it's been really sad to see some of the contradictory that has been going on across this country. Just coming from this administration, y'all, it's really a very sad time, y'all. And so I just want to start this off and literally start this production today off with just saying the names of the people who have been killed at the hands of an ICE officer here in America. We know that the ICE has been kidnapping a number of people. It's really sad, and I'm taking pauses because it's really sad to really play through your mind the level of corruption that this administration is displaying. And for many people who said, how bad could it get, right? And so I think we're living in that moment of how bad can it get. And I just wanted to go and start off and say the names of the people. Keith Porter Jr., who they call Pooter, I believe. This is a 43-year-old father of 2, was fatally shot by an off-duty ICE officer on New Year's Eve at his apartment complex in Northridge in Los Angeles. Of course, like many people hear officials talk about it. Of course, the Trump administration, it's his fault, officers defending themselves. Officer was responding to an active shooter situation, and he's off duty, right? And it just shows you how rogue these officers are and what they're currently doing across America. Also, I want to talk about Renée Nicole Good, 37, killed by ICE officers during a federal enforcement operations in Minneapolis on January 7th. Multiple gunshot wounds. Of course, Renée Goodman and her partner was legal observers trying to make sure that people's rights are not being violated. And for many people that are saying, why are they doing that? Well, when you have people due process being eliminated and eroded, people are going to go to court to make sure that they're being law-abiding citizens and following the law, even if they are people who migrated to America. they're giving court dates and they're going in front of judges, and ICE agents is basically don't give a damn about what's going on in the courtroom. They're arresting them, not at an order of the judge. They're basically just arresting them in the hallway. If they have a situation where there's a ticket or anything, any traffic violence, anything, they're arresting them. There are ICE agents busting down people's houses and literally don't even have a warrant, but they're going in people's houses, they're doing whatever they want. So you have some courageous Americans, like any movement, that are doing legal observing. My hat goes off to all of them that are doing that work, because that work is very important. And many people don't know their rights, right? So I always say to all of those people who put those vests on, go out there standing in the gap, making sure people understand their rights, my hat goes off to you. A third one was Alex Pretti, a 37-year-old ICU nurse, a U.S. citizen, shot and killed by a federal border patrol agent on January 24th doing the same Minneapolis operations. Many of us have saw the videos of our brother Alex, and you know, these videos have been really hard to watch. Many clips and different things of that nature. And I want to say this real quick. Y'all quit with these AI photos, right? Y'all listen, it doesn't help to put out an AI photo, right? We got to stop that. But in this reality, it has been very troubling to see the videos of who these individuals are. And it just reminds me, y'all, my grandmother used to always say that there's nothing new under the sun, y'all. And so, you know, I always say that, you know, history repeats itself. And I remember there was a conversation on social media, and I'm only going to have it here because I like to help people walk through when somebody, you know, questions it. And it says, okay, why all of a sudden we are outraged because 2 white people got killed? Although it's a great tragedy and different things of that nature, and I'm not eliminating that. And I always tell people all the time, people focus on some of the stuff that really don't matter, right? The reality is, if that creates the connection that brings it and exposes it, and I always tell people all the time, there's no perfect victim, right? This reality that because colonialism, we have this thing dead in our head of like basically, hey, there's supposed to be a perfect victim, or he was this, he was that. Any victim of state-sanctioned violence is a victim. There's no high, good, bad, low, in between. They're a victim of state-sanctioned violence. But I always tell people all the time, history repeats itself. If you focus, that's why our ancestors fought so hard for us to understand exactly, to understand our history, know where we come from, understanding all of the different things. But when I started to reflect on Nicole Goodman and Good, my bad, I'm sorry, I messed up her name, but and I started to think about Alex Pretti, I started to think about these 2 individuals that I remember were killed during the Civil Rights Movement. And if many people remember, there was a person by the name of Reverend James Reeb. He was a white minister from Boston. And when, after Bloody Sunday, when Dr. King made that national call for all people of all different race, colors, and creeds, Reverend James did not hesitate to come to Selma, Alabama. And on March 9, 1965, after participating in a voting rights protest following the Bloody Sunday, he died 2 years later, and his death drew a massive national reaction and helped, accelerate the support of the Voting Rights Act. This woman, I always talk about her all the time, Viola Luzo, a white civil rights activist and mother of 5 from Michigan. She was murdered on March 25th, 1965, just a few days after Reverend James was. She was helping transport marchers after Selma to Montgomery. Members of the Ku Klux Klan shot and killed her to death, and exposed the violence in the civil rights movement, and it deeply impacted. These 2 individuals, after their death, their death catapulted, let me rephrase that from that word, but their death brought major exposure to the civil rights movement and what was going on, and Dr. King and the SCLC staff push for the Voting Rights Act. And many people remember at that time, President LBJ was asking the SCLC for time during this process. And Dr. King and them said, hey, no, we can't wait. And so, of course, they started to organize in Selma, Alabama. And because of the aggression of Sheriff Jim Clark, who was the sheriff of Selma at that time, and the governor, George Wallace, of course, you saw a lot of innocent people be killed. But as you see those 2 connections of that 1965 all the way to 2026, you just see the cycle of history just repeating itself. And it's deeply saddening that we have to yet hear the stupidity come from this administration. Y'all, by the way, let me put a little pin in that. Y'all, it's Jeremy's birthday, y'all. He turning 45 today. And, you know, I got him doing this little recording for the day, but he turned 45, so we're going to say happy birthday when the end, right? So y'all say happy birthday to Jeremy for a moment. Jeremy, it's your birthday, right?
I got one question. If I'm 45, how old are you?
I ain't asked you that. But look, okay, so real quick. So he 45 and he over here talking about something else, and I don't know nothing about what he talking about. But other than that, we gonna celebrate today Jeremy's 45th birthday, y'all. You hear me? And so, but here's the thing. Let me get back on topic. I want you to see the Secretary for Homeland Security, her reaction in what she called these shootings, and what she described as the problem of what's going on. And you know, I don't like to add into their words, so I like to put their videos up in their clips and all that type of stuff or whatever. So Jeremy, if you can put on Christy Noam's video so they can really see this and just hear from, just listen to it. You ain't even gotta, like, I'm sick of quoting these white supremacists. Put the video on.
Individuals showed up to impede a law enforcement operation and assaulted our officers. They responded according to their training and took action to defend the officer's life and those of the public around him. And I don't know of any peaceful protester that shows up with a gun and ammunition rather than a sign. This is a violent riot when you have someone showing up with weapons and are using them to assault law enforcement officers.
Because video
So, I want to show you a video, y'all. I don't even want to respond to that, but I wanted y'all to hear her. You don't know any individual that shows up to a peaceful protest and literally bring guns. Okay? Alrighty. Jeremy, hit that other video. All right, so quick favor. I need you to pull up a clip for them on Cal Rittenhouse, the young 17-year-old white boy that decided to show up in a protest, and literally gunned down in a peaceful protest. I'm gonna give him a little time for it, but the second clip that you guys saw was, of course, January 6th, where you saw thousands of white supremacists descend on the U.S. Capitol, and you saw many of them with guns. You saw many of them with everything. And what was described as a peaceful protest, even though we know it ain't, right? But I do want to show this video clip of Cal Rittenhouse real quick. Jeremy, just show it real quick.
We're looking at all of it. That was an interesting situation. You saw the same tape as I saw, and he was trying to get away from them, I guess, it looks like, and he fell, and then they very violently attacked him, and it was something that we're looking at right now, and it's under investigation, but I guess he was in very big trouble. He would have been, he probably would have been killed.
So, real quick, Jeremy, give them the video of Trump describing January 6th so that they can see this real quick. I'm gonna get to my point, y'all, and so that y'all can see this, but I don't wanna make it up. It's too important for you to hear their voice and have it all come together so that you can hear the hypocrisy and the stupidity like we see it. Jeremy, put it on.
This crowd. I've spoken to the crowd at the Washington Monument and the Lincoln Memorial.
If you like this video,
on the 4th of July. This crowd was bigger.
To stay up to date with
and
all the latest news.
Pause real quick. I'm gonna run that back just when we're going into it. I'll run that back. Just
Okay.
tell me to go to it real quick.
Okay.
Because the second YouTube video is still playing.
Okay. Alrighty, so Jeremy, put that video on real quick of Trump talking about the Day of Love.
Exactly the number, but I've had massive crowds, and this was by far the biggest crowd. I've spoken to the crowd at the Washington Monument and the Lincoln Memorial on the 4th of July. This crowd was bigger. And I tell you, there was a beauty to it and there was a love to it that I've never seen before.
But Mr. President,
a small group of people went down to the Capitol, and then a lot of strange things happened, including police ushering them into the Capitol. I mean, you know that. And a lot of strange things. So I'm not referring to that. I'm saying that when I saw that tremendous crowd, the largest group I've ever spoken to, in front of these beautiful monuments, I thought it was actually a beautiful thing. It was a protest.
But
now,
Mr. President,
if other groups protest,
let me jump in, please.
I know, but when other groups protest, whatever they may be protesting, nobody says anything. As you know, they have a right to protest.
There was a lot of violence. 1,200 people pled guilty or were convicted.
So what you saw right there was basically armed white supremacists that literally took it amongst themselves to yet basically break into the U.S. Capitol. But I always tell people all the time, what if that was Black Lives Matter? What if that was 50,000 black people? Do you think they would have ever called that a peaceful protest? The reality in America, we have these things called gun control laws. Only reason why America ever put gun control laws is because the Black Panthers, yet in the 70s, organized a protest at the California state capitol, right? And because they had their right to bear arms, we have this thing called gun control and all of these different types of things, right? But it's okay, right? It's okay when they do it. It's okay when white supremacists are standing up for their rights and standing on principles of conservative. But if that same white person is literally going out there standing up for their brother, their neighbor, the individual that don't look like them, they have to be an actual terrorist. They have to be an actual domestic terrorist, right? So yet at the end of the day, because these two white individuals wanted to stand up for the people that does not look like them, right? They're not held up. I remember in the previous episode, you remember the guy after Trump took office, he literally did an interview on the national TV, and he literally said that Joe Biden's son was able to go home and this, that, and the third. And when they was cutting off the leg money, the jackass had the audacity to say, all we did was peacefully protest. We didn't do anything wrong. Peaceful where? Where were they peaceful at? Which part? Was it from the part of climbing the walls? Was it from the part of literally slamming and killing officers? Was it from the part of breaking into the speakers of the House office? Or was it the part of literally breaking through doors? Which video did you see that said January 6th is yet a peaceful protest? And then you got this lady, Christy Nomes, who literally says, who brings a gun to a peaceful protest? It's crazy. It's like these are the same people that say, oh, you have the right to bear arms. You here in the state of Texas, you can sit here and an 18-year-old and a 17-year-old can literally have a gun legally here in the state of Texas without a permit. Without a permit. These are the same people that says that you have the right to bear arms and all of these different types of things. But when that right to bear arms comes against them, they're terrorists. And that's just a huge hypocrisy. That's what America looks like. That's what we talk about when we talk about what it means to live in America, what it means to live in this yet white supremacist agenda that don't give a damn about you. And yet all of these people want to sit here and say, man, that's not our fight. That's not our fight. That's not this fight. We shouldn't be involved in it. We should be involved in everything that has a level of injustice. Everything ain't got to be just our people, right? And for some people, I hear a lot of my black people say, well, that's their fight. That's this, that, and the third. At the end of the day, black people has always been on the forefront of humanity, standing up, standing in the gap for so many people. I saw this conversation regarding the Black Panthers' involvement in the fight of immigration in the 60s and 70s, and there were people that were saying that the Black Panthers did not have an agenda towards migration, and that was totally untrue. That was totally untrue, y'all. A shot of, like, that was just totally untrue, y'all. Afeni Shakur didn't meet the people of Cuba when she went over there. Those people didn't bargain with America the whole entire time that she lived. They let her live there free without being ever used as a political prisoner, ever used as anything. And so the reality is that it's important for us to know our facts. It's important for us to understand what is our current job in 2026. And here's the thing. You might not think that you are affected by what's going on. In any area of state-sanctioned violence where immigration thinks that literally they can just take matters into their own hands and kill people dead on the streets. Keith Porter Jr. killed by an off-duty officer, feeling like ICE officer, feeling like he needed to respond to an active shooter. But see, this is what I always tell people all the time. This is the reason why we always push for police oversight. We always push for accountability. Because I don't care whether you're white, black, blue, or green. The reality is that if you give someone a badge and authority and there are no checks and balances in that, I don't care what color you are, you should always want to make sure that the people that are hired to protect and yet serve are also following this little book right here. Because we know the damn president ain't following it. So if the damn president ain't following it, we can't expect the people with the badge to damn follow it, right? And so it gotta be some type of level of awakening, right? Where accountability actually matters, where accountability is not something that just wakes up in the morning and says, oh, do I wanna hold on to this? Do I wanna hold somebody accountable? And so what we are seeing right now in Minnesota should have everybody of different race, colors, creeds, sexual orientation, religious preference, I don't care. It should have everybody outraged at the levels of injustice that are currently going on here in America. And as I was just seeing just the different things that were going on, it's just troubling to see so many people disconnect themselves on what's going on. And so I say to many people that don't feel like they're affected by what's going on, just hold on. It'll be your turn. But what I will tell you right now as a leader, don't wait. Don't wait till it hits your house. There have been many people over the last 11, 12 years and saying, Dominique, that's not my issue until it's theirs. I've had people literally have to come and, Dominique, I never thought in a million years that I would have needed your help. I remember there was a mother when her daughter died and she was 18 years old. She had just graduated from South Oak Cliff High School. And I remember this mother looked at me and she said, Dominique, me and my boyfriend are great supporters of you. We always rooted for you on the news, and whenever I saw you, I was following you for years. But the next part that she said really challenged me as a leader, and she hit me with it, and she said, but I never wanted to meet you. And it really bothered me as a leader. And I was like, damn, never wanted to meet me. And it just allowed me to really see the reality of this work. And so when we see this, we have to realize that it might not be your day right now. But if you sit right now and allow what is currently going on to yet ignore it and act like you're not affected by it, just wait. But I will tell you based on experience, please don't wait until it's your time. Please don't wait until it's your baby, your brother, your sister, your uncle, your mother, your daddy, your whatever. The reality that is currently going on is an extreme white supremacist agenda. And if you're not on that white supremacist agenda, I don't care if you're white and you're not signed onto that white supremacist agenda, you will be killed too. Because this agenda that is currently going on in America is yet created to dismantle everything that we know. The America that we know. For many people in America, and especially black people, we will say, well, we've always had to fight. We've always had to do these things. And yeah, that's right. But right now we have to finish the fight. Because if we start talking about the histories of our movement and all those different types of things, we can also talk about areas when they were able to destroy us. And we can look at what we were doing in the 80s, and we can look at what we were doing in the 90s, in the early 2000s. In those dormant years when they were doing the numbers on us. When the 1993 crime bill was literally locking up black men at the rate of, for every seven black men, 3 of them or 4 of them are in prison. The numbers. They built the whole criminal justice system off of the black bodies. And the reality is we're asking, how did they literally dismantle so much progress during the 50s and the 60s, in the 70s? How did they dismantle that? When they started flooding our communities with drugs. And so what we're doing in 2026 is just making up for the time. And with so much stuff at our fingertips and so much knowledge, so many books, so many YouTube videos and things that is at our fingertips right now to educate us, to empower this next generation. That's the reason why you have things like critical race theory. That's the reason why you have these people literally going after our ability to read, our ability to teach our kids their true history. That's why they're sanitizing all of the stupid stuff, that literally sanitizing our books. We can't even tell the story of the autobiography of Malcolm X in schools in America. The Department of Education is yet being dismantled by this white supremacist. Because guess what? If I can take their history away, if I can eliminate them knowing where they come from, if I can eliminate the fact of the knowledge that what we're going through in 2026 is not new under the sun, if I can eliminate their ability to know what was going on in the 60s and the 40s and the 20s, if I can eliminate their ability to know that they come from kings and queens, if I can eliminate their ability to know that they can rise up, if I can eliminate them to know that a black woman literally put a white man on the moon, if I can eliminate their ability of really knowing where they come from, then I can control the next generation of them. And many of us go and say, why is this next generation, this generation X group that's coming behind me is so out of whack? It's by design. Why are they so uncontrollable? It's by design. It's literally a part of that white supremacist agenda. And so that's the reason why we have to do everything we can to stand up now. Don't wait till it hits your doorstep. Stand up today. Stand up. Because you don't want it to be your son, your mother, your father, your sister, your cousin, or anybody close to you. We gotta do it. We have to always stand up and stand up for what is right. Y'all, so real quick, as I kind of go and wrap this thing up, because Jeremy gotta go out and be light-skinned today because it's his birthday. So I'm going, I'm gonna kind of keep it short or whatever, even though I probably did went a little longer over there. And he keeps on peeking his head at me and giving me these 5 minutes, 2 minutes, 4 minutes, and all this shit. So I'm gonna let him go out here and be light skinned today or whatever, y'all. And then I'm gonna put a social media post for y'all to all go on there and celebrate Jeremy's 45th birthday. Okay. So real quick, like I said, every day that I do this production, for the first 7 days, I told y'all I was gonna wear another different Foil Cliff hoodies, y'all. So today, Foil Cliff hoodie is the hoodie that is the colors of the great Adamson High School here in Dallas, Texas, y'all. So of course you see they got all the zip codes there. They got it. I'm from Oak Cliff, but I'm from the best. I'm from the best zip code. There is 75216, the center, the attention of Oak Cliff, the heart of Oak Cliff, right? And so, of course, for many of you guys that want to get this hoodie, go to foilcliff.org. Always support this nonprofit that does a lot of work in my neighborhood. So y'all, this edition is the Adamson. Hey, I got a couple of more, y'all. And I know I had to take a few days break because of the winter storm, and Jeremy act like he couldn't drive in the snow. So, but you know, we just gonna keep on going, keep this thing alive. And y'all, I hope that as we continue to do these conversations help you. These conversations really impact your ability to really challenge you to really think outside the box, right? That's the only reason why I want to do this show, is to make sure that I challenge you to stop thinking in your colonialized lens and actually think from a perspective that literally sits on the shoulders of our ancestors that fought and died for you to have those rights. And right now, for all of our community, to our entire people who are mobilizing across this country in the streets right now, for all of the organizers, for all of the policy people, for all of the frontline people that I know, may God continue to cover you. May God continue to bless you. May God continue to direct your path. Understand that you must continue to protect your mental health. You must continue to pick up your cross daily. Know that God got you. Know that you stand on the broad shoulders of people like Dr. Martin Luther King, Malcolm X, Fannie Lou Hamer, and so many different giants who literally did it before us. Just know that we will never allow their sacrifice to go in vain. Peace, may it be with you. And guess what, y'all? Happy birthday, Jeremy. We out this camp.
You've just heard the truth. Not watered down, not corporate approved, not shaped to fit their narrative, but from the souls of the street where justice is born. This isn't about the algorithms or headlines. This is about our children, our elders, our freedom, our right to live, breathe, vote, speak, and be seen. If you felt something in your spirit today, if you learned something that they never wanted you to know, if you heard your story in mine, then this is your platform too. I need you to be a part of the movement. Subscribe, follow, stay connected, not just to me, but to the mission. Find me on every platform, @NiqueAlex. That's NIQUEALEX. Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, YouTube, Twitter, or whatever they call it.